In the world of American entertainment, where appearances are everything and perfection is often the goal, placing your trust in the wrong hands can lead to far more than a botched procedure. It can end careers, lives, and identities. Joan Rivers, a trailblazing comedian, pursued beauty enhancements with relentless determination, only to tragically lose her life during what was meant to be a routine procedure. Michael Jackson, once the beloved king of pop, underwent such extreme physical changes that he became nearly unrecognizable, his transformation symbolizing the heavy toll fame can exact. These stories go far beyond cosmetic alterations. They serve as chilling reminders of the dangers that lie beneath the surface of the pursuit of beauty. In the race to meet impossible standards, many lose not just their looks, but the very core of who they are, leaving behind a legacy shaped as much by tragedy as by talent. Joan Rivers, one of the brightest stars in American comedy, was a fearless trailblazer who shattered barriers and redefined what it meant to be a woman in the entertainment industry. With her razor-sharp wit and fearless humor, she captivated audiences across every platform from late-night television to the Broadway stage. Her groundbreaking talk show, The Joan Rivers Show, earned her a coveted Emmy and solidified her status as a comedic icon. But behind the biting punchlines and dazzling stage presence was a woman who faced profound personal struggles, including heartbreak loss and the relentless pressure of staying relevant in a youth-obsessed industry. Joan's legacy is not only one of laughter, but also of resilience, revealing the hidden complexities that often accompany fame and success. Behind the stage lights and roaring applause, Joan Rivers faced a quieter, more insidious struggle, the relentless pressure to preserve a flawless image in an industry that rarely forgives aging, especially for women. What began as a single facelift to stay camera-ready evolved into a cycle of continuous procedures driven by an ever-intensifying media gaze and the unforgiving standards of show business. Joan once confessed, "I can't let myself grow old in front of the world. Every wrinkle feels like a failure, capturing the impossible expectations she carried." With each surgery, she tried to reclaim control over time and image, but the pursuit of perfection slowly chipped away at her sense of self, revealing the heavy emotional cost of staying forever young in the spotlight. Joan Rivers underwent more than 348 cosmetic procedures over her lifetime, including facelifts, rhinoplasties, liposuction, and endless Botox injections, each one a step deeper into her relentless pursuit of perfection. As time passed, her once familiar face became dramatically altered, serving as a striking reflection of the immense pressure she felt to defy aging at all costs. The toll was not just physical, but emotional. Her appearance became a source of public ridicule, with tabloids cruelly branding her as a plastic doll, a surgery monster, and the woman without age. These dehumanizing labels cut deep, intensifying the very insecurities she had tried so hard to erase. Joan's transformation, once fueled by a desire for confidence and control, became a painful symbol of the impossible standards that fame imposes, especially on women in the spotlight. In her personal life, Joan Rivers' drastic transformation took an emotional toll that extended far beyond the public eye. Her changing appearance added strain to her marriage with Edgar Rosenberg, her beloved husband, who tragically died by suicide after a long struggle with depression. The loss devastated Joan, and she carried an overwhelming sense of guilt, convinced that she had somehow been to blame. In the wake of his death, she threw herself into work, using her career as a shield against the pain, and turned increasingly to cosmetic procedures as a way to mask her grief. After Edgar's passing, Joan found it nearly impossible to open her heart again. Those who entered her life only saw the glamorous, meticulously crafted image she projected, never truly connecting with the vulnerable woman underneath. Over time, the relentless cycle of surgeries began to take a serious toll on Joan Rivers' health. She suffered from a range of complications, including infections, nerve damage, and chronic pain that quietly followed her through her later years. One lesser-known but deeply painful moment came when she was turned down for a major film role solely because of her overly altered appearance. The rejection was a harsh blow to her pride, a reminder that the very changes she made to stay relevant were now costing her opportunities. But true to form, Joan didn't let the setback define her. Instead, she transformed the pain into material for her sharp, unflinching comedy, confronting her critics head-on with brutal honesty and humor. She used the stage as both a weapon and a sanctuary, refusing to let judgment dull her edge or silence the voice that had made her a legend. Joan Rivers's career never lost momentum, but the price of her unrelenting pursuit of perfection was profound. The countless surgeries left not only lasting damage to her body, but also fractured her sense of self. In a moment of heartbreaking honesty, she once admitted, "I've forgotten what my real face looks like." Yet despite the physical and emotional toll, Joan never stopped giving everything she had to her audience. She channeled her pain into performance-wielding humor as both armor and weapon, transforming public ridicule into punchlines with fearless wit. Her comedy remained razor-sharp, her stage presence unshakable. Even as the weight of fame and its sacrifices pressed heavily on her, Joan Rivers stood tall, a relentless, unapologetic force, whose legacy endures far beyond the spotlight. Even in her final years, Joan Rivers walked red carpets with unapologetic confidence, meeting judgmental stares with the same boldness that had defined her entire career. She refused to retreat from the spotlight, determined to remain visible, relevant, and fiercely herself. In 2014, she tragically passed away from complications during a routine throat procedure, a sudden yet in many ways symbolic end to a life shaped by the pressures of fame and the pursuit of perfection. Her death left a deep void in the hearts of fans around the world and cast a sobering light on the darker realities of the entertainment industry's obsession with youth and image. Joan's story stands as a powerful reminder of the personal toll of celebrity, a poignant reflection on what is lost when identity is constantly reshaped to meet impossible standards, and a lasting cautionary tale about the cost of chasing approval in a world that often values appearance over authenticity. Anna Nicole Smith seemed to live a real-life Cinderella story, rising from humble beginnings to become a symbol of glamour and desire. Born Vicki Lynn Hogan, she worked as a small-town waitress in Texas before capturing the world's attention as Playboy's Playmate of the Year in 1993. Her meteoric rise to fame was fueled by her stunning looks and undeniable charm, quickly landing her high-profile modeling campaigns, most notably with Guess where her bombshell image left a lasting impact on the fashion world. With her sultry gaze and larger-than-life persona, Anna was often hailed as the modern-day Marilyn Monroe, embodying both the allure and fragility of a classic Hollywood icon. To many, she was the embodiment of beauty and transformation, a woman who seemed to have it all. But beneath the surface of fame and fantasy, a much darker reality quietly loomed. At the peak of her fame, Anna Nicole Smith made her move into Hollywood, taking on a handful of modest film roles that, while not critically acclaimed, showcased her charisma and left a lasting impression. Yet behind the glitz and flashing cameras, Anna battled a deep sense of insecurity and isolation. She often felt like an outsider in the glamorous world she had stepped into, plagued by feelings of inadequacy and the overwhelming pressure to maintain a flawless image. After giving birth to her son, Anna faced harsh public scrutiny over her weight, and the brutal media coverage only deepened her obsession with staying thin. In a desperate bid to meet the industry's impossible standards, she turned to diet pills, liposuction, and extreme workout routines. This pursuit of physical perfection soon spiraled into a dangerous dependence on painkillers and sedatives, trapping her in a cycle of addiction that would shadow her for the rest of her life and ultimately contribute to her tragic downfall. The first major turning point in Anna Nicole Smith's life came when she married oil tycoon J. Howard Marshall II, a man 63 years her senior. Their union instantly became a media sensation, sparking public controversy and leading many to label Anna as a gold digger and manipulator. The judgment was swift and relentless, casting a shadow over her personal life and public image. After Marshall's death, Anna was thrust into a long and emotionally draining legal battle with his family over his vast fortune. The courtroom drama played out under the glare of the media took a significant toll on her mental and emotional well-being. As the legal battle raged on, the press turned even harsher, mocking her fluctuating weight and portraying her as a Hollywood disaster. Once adored for her beauty and boldness, Anna became a target of tabloid ridicule, with every misstep magnified and every struggle turned into a spectacle. The most devastating moment in Anna Nicole Smith's life came with the sudden heartbreaking death of her son Daniel at just 20 years old. Tragically, he died from a drug overdose while visiting Anna in the hospital just days after she had given birth to her daughter Danilyn. Losing Daniel in such an intimate and vulnerable setting left a wound so deep that Anna was never able to truly heal. The grief consumed her, and from that point on, she appeared visibly broken. Public appearances grew increasingly difficult. She often faced harsh criticism about her looks and behavior, and the media continued to treat her personal pain as entertainment. On live television, Anna would sometimes break down in tears, unable to mask the unbearable sorrow she carried. Her raw emotional struggles became all too apparent, exposing a mother crushed by loss and a woman slowly unraveling under the weight of heartbreak and public judgment. Ultimately, the weight of fame, loss, and personal demons became too much for Anna Nicole Smith to bear. Her growing dependence on diet pills and prescription painkillers, combined with deep emotional wounds and ongoing mental health struggles, led her into a downward spiral from which she couldn't escape. Despite everything, Anna made efforts to reclaim control of her life, returning to modeling, starring in reality television, and pouring love into raising her daughter Danilyn. But the scars of her past, compounded by relentless media scrutiny and deteriorating health, proved overwhelming. On February 8, 2007, Anna was found unresponsive in a Florida hotel room and was later pronounced dead from an accidental overdose at just 39 years old. Her untimely death marked a sorrowful end to a life filled with extraordinary beauty and fame, but also with deep pain and tragedy, a cautionary tale about the high cost of living under the spotlight. Michael Jackson's name is etched into the fabric of music history as the undisputed king of pop, a global icon whose influence transcended borders and generations. More than just a performer, Michael was a prodigy, a visionary who revolutionized the music industry with his groundbreaking sound, electrifying performances, and unmatched creativity. In the 1980s, he reached the pinnacle of success, releasing chart-topping hits like Billie Jean Beat It and the record-shattering Thriller, which remains the best-selling album of all time. With his signature moonwalk, genre-defying style, and boundary-breaking music videos, Michael didn't just entertain, he transformed pop culture itself. At the peak of his career, he embodied the ultimate dream, extraordinary talent, global fame, and the adoration of millions. Yet behind the blinding spotlight lay a far more complex and deeply troubled reality. However, behind the fame and flashing cameras, Michael Jackson faced overwhelming pressures that few could truly comprehend. In the early stages of his career, he was celebrated for his vibrant charisma, captivating smile, and natural features, including his rich brown skin. But by the late 1980s, his evolving appearance became a global topic of conversation and controversy. His skin had noticeably lightened, his nose appeared more sculpted, and other facial features had subtly changed. Michael publicly revealed that he suffered from vitiligo, a skin condition that causes loss of pigmentation, and said he chose to even out his skin tone for a more uniform look. Still, the public remained skeptical. Many believed he had undergone multiple cosmetic procedures, and the speculation only intensified over the years. As his image shifted, so did the perception of his identity, placing him under relentless scrutiny and casting a shadow over his immense talent and artistic legacy. As the years went on, Michael Jackson's dramatically altered appearance, particularly his nose, became a focal point of public speculation and concern. Experts estimate he underwent at least 10 facial procedures, fueling rumors of an obsession with cosmetic surgery. But behind the changes was a deeply rooted pain. Michael often spoke about the emotional scars left by his childhood, especially the hurtful comments from his father, who criticized him harshly and made him feel that his nose was too large. These remarks planted seeds of insecurity that grew into lifelong struggles with self-image. In rare, vulnerable interviews, Michael admitted, "I couldn't look in the mirror. I always thought I was ugly." That haunting sentiment revealed a man at war with his reflection, someone who, despite worldwide fame and admiration, was desperately searching for acceptance, love, and peace within himself. His physical transformation wasn't just about beauty. It was a reflection of deep emotional wounds that never truly healed. Ironically, the very surgeries Michael Jackson pursued to feel more accepted only made him a target of relentless ridicule. The media sensationalized his transformation, plastering headlines that branded him a surgery addict and plastic man, reducing a deeply personal battle to cruel entertainment. What many failed to see was that these external changes reflected a profound inner turmoil, a desperate yearning to feel loved, valued, and worthy. Those closest to him spoke of his overwhelming loneliness, even at the height of his fame and his constant battle with self-esteem. The toll of these surgeries went far beyond the visible. They left him in chronic physical pain and emotional exhaustion. In an attempt to manage the aftermath, both the physical discomfort and the emotional burden, Michael became increasingly dependent on painkillers and sedatives, a reliance that only deepened his suffering and slowly eroded the man behind the icon. Under the weight of relentless media scrutiny and public judgment, Michael Jackson withdrew from the world, seeking refuge in Neverland, his sprawling, dreamlike estate that offered both comfort and quiet sorrow. Though it was filled with theme park rides, animals, and whimsical touches, Neverland became more than just a home. It was a physical expression of Michael's desire to reclaim the childhood he never had and escape the harsh realities of fame. Yet behind its gates, isolation grew. Despite his immense success, Michael's personal relationships suffered. His marriages to Lisa Marie Presley and Debbie Rowe ultimately ended in heartbreak, leaving him yearning for genuine connection. Those closest to him often spoke of his deep longing for a real loving family, something he struggled to build amid the lingering trauma of his upbringing and the overwhelming pressure of life in the spotlight. For Michael, the spotlight that once illuminated his greatness became a barrier that distanced him from the very human experiences he craved most. Despite the mounting challenges and personal battles he faced, Michael Jackson never stopped fighting for his artistry and creative vision. He continued to make music that resonated with millions, releasing powerful albums like History and staging elaborate tours that mesmerized audiences around the globe. His performances remained electrifying, a testament to his enduring passion and drive. But behind the scenes, the unrelenting pressure of fame combined with chronic pain from years of surgeries and emotional scars pushed him further into a dangerous reliance on prescription medication. On June 25, 2009, the world was left in shock when news broke that Michael had died of cardiac arrest caused by an overdose of drugs. His passing wasn't just the end of a musical era, it was a heartbreaking reminder of the crushing weight that fame can place on a person. Michael Jackson's story stands as both a celebration of unmatched talent and a cautionary tale about the profound toll that public life can exact on the body, mind, and soul. Sylvester Stallone rose to become one of the most iconic figures in action cinema, his name forever linked to the gritty determination of Rocky and the raw intensity of Rambo. But behind the sculpted physique and heroic roles was a life shaped by hardship and perseverance. Stallone's path to stardom was anything but easy. He was repeatedly turned away by casting agents who criticized his slurred speech and asymmetrical face, a result of complications during birth that left part of his face paralyzed. Yet Stallone channeled every rejection into motivation. Fueled by relentless determination, he wrote the screenplay for Rocky in just 3 days, refusing to sell it unless he played the lead. When the film was finally made in 1976, it became a cultural phenomenon and earned multiple Academy Awards, launching Stallone into superstardom. He solidified his status as a box office titan, with the Rambo series embodying strength, endurance, and a fighting spirit that resonated with audiences worldwide. His journey remains a powerful testament to grit, resilience, and the will to rise above adversity. As Sylvester Stallone's career began to slow in the 1990s, he found himself caught in a battle not just against time, but against the expectations of an image he had built around strength and youth. Fans started noticing significant changes in his appearance. His skin appeared unusually smooth, his wrinkles had faded, and the shape of his nose seemed altered. Rumors of cosmetic surgery swirled, and while Stallone initially brushed off the speculation, he later admitted to undergoing multiple procedures, including Botox injections and facelifts. In his quest to preserve the tough guy image that had defined his fame, he also experimented with a range of unconventional beauty treatments. But instead of rejuvenation, these efforts left his face looking tight and unnaturally rigid, prompting backlash from fans and critics alike. Many began to question not just the physical changes, but whether the once authentic symbol of resilience was now hiding behind a manufactured mask, struggling to reconcile with the passage of time. Sylvester Stallone's relentless efforts to maintain his heroic image were deeply rooted in personal insecurities and the fear of fading relevance. As he entered middle age, the rise of younger action stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis intensified his anxiety about being left behind in a genre he once dominated. This fear of becoming washed up triggered a battle with self-doubt that he tried to counter through physical transformation. But the emotional weight grew heavier in 2012 when Stallone suffered an unimaginable loss. His son Sage Stallone died suddenly at the age of 36 from heart complications. The tragedy devastated him, plunging Stallone into a state of profound grief and emotional withdrawal. In the aftermath, he reportedly leaned more on cosmetic procedures, perhaps as a way to mask not just the signs of aging, but also the pain he carried inside. His once invincible persona began to reflect the very human struggle of a man trying to hold on to youth, to legacy, and to a part of himself lost in sorrow. As Sylvester Stallone's appearance continued to evolve, it became a frequent target of public ridicule. The media labeled him a plastic doll and a surgery addict, mocking the visible effects of his cosmetic procedures. Years of intense physical training and rumored steroid use had also taken a toll on his body, leading to chronic joint pain and heart complications that he could no longer ignore. Meanwhile, his personal life was far from stable. After 2 failed marriages, he married model Jennifer Flavin, but their relationship faced constant pressure not only from the glare of the media, but also from the emotional strain tied to Stallone's changing image and internal battles. Yet through it all, he remained determined to persevere. Whether on screen or off, Stallone continued to push forward, striving to maintain the strength and resilience that had defined him for decades, even as the weight of adversity pressed harder than ever. Despite enduring personal tragedies, public scrutiny, and the physical toll of aging, Sylvester Stallone embodied the same resilience as the iconic characters he portrayed. Refusing to fade quietly into the background, he staged a powerful comeback with The Expendables, reasserting his place in the world of action cinema and reminding audiences why he became a legend in the first place. Now at 77, though, his physique has changed from the chiseled form of his prime. Stallone continues to prove that grit, talent, and determination transcend age. His evolving appearance tells a story of struggle, but it's his enduring spirit that resonates most. In a world obsessed with youth, Stallone stands as a testament to the idea that true strength isn't just physical. It's found in persistence, passion, and the courage to keep fighting no matter how steep the odds. Elvis Presley, the undisputed king of rock and roll, captivated the world with his electrifying voice, magnetic stage presence, and unique blend of musical styles that revolutionized American pop culture. With his smoldering blue eyes, signature curled lip, and effortless charm, Elvis quickly became a global sensation, admired not only for his talent, but also for his iconic look. His influence transcended music, shaping fashion, film, and youth culture for decades. Yet behind the dazzling spotlight and screaming crowds, Elvis struggled with the immense pressure to maintain his image as the ultimate performer. The demands of fame, along with an obsession with preserving his appearance and energy, gradually took a toll, marking the beginning of a downward spiral that would ultimately overshadow his incredible legacy. However, few could have foreseen just how devastating the cost of maintaining Elvis Presley's dazzling image would be. By the early 1960s, as his once explosive career began to slow, the relentless pressure to stay relevant and picture-perfect weighed heavily on him. Determined to preserve his slim figure and keep up the stamina needed for grueling performances and film shoots, Elvis began using diet pills and stimulants. What started as a means to meet industry expectations slowly evolved into a dangerous dependency. Over time, these substances began to erode his physical health, leaving him increasingly fatigued, bloated, and vulnerable. The very tools he used to stay on top were quietly undermining the body and spirit of one of the world's most beloved entertainers. By the 1970s, Elvis Presley's once youthful and chiseled appearance had visibly faded, replaced by a fuller figure, a puffy face and weary eyes that betrayed the toll of years spent battling inner demons. Fans who had fallen in love with the energetic, sharp-jawed heartthrob of the 1950s were shocked by the transformation, which became especially apparent during his Las Vegas performances in the now iconic white jumpsuit. These images, once symbols of his stage dominance, began to reflect a far more somber reality. His declining appearance drew sharp criticism from the media, often overshadowing his still powerful performances. But more than just physical change, his appearance mirrored the pain, isolation, and personal struggles he endured behind closed doors, a heartbreaking contrast to the vibrant legend he once was. Elvis Presley's 1973 divorce from Priscilla dealt a crushing emotional blow, plunging him into a deep depression that intensified the pressures already weighing heavily on him. Isolated and heartbroken, he found little reprieve from the relentless demands of performing and the burden of sustaining his larger-than-life image. To cope, he turned increasingly to sedatives, sleeping pills, and painkiller substances that offered temporary escape but deepened his dependence. In moments of vulnerability, Elvis confided in close friends that fame had become a gilded cage, leaving him unable to move freely without being swarmed by adoring fans. The loneliness behind the cheers and the exhaustion behind the spotlight wore him down. The image the world expected a flawless, untouchable icon became impossible to maintain, leaving Elvis struggling under the immense emotional and physical weight of being the king. The prolonged use of prescription drugs took a devastating toll on Elvis Presley's health, slowly breaking down the once vibrant performer the world had adored. He suffered from a range of serious conditions, including hypertension, gastrointestinal issues, and chronic heart failure, all worsened by years of heavy medication use. As his body weakened, so did his ability to deliver the electrifying performances that had made him a legend, and his visible decline became a painful spectacle for fans and an easy target for media ridicule. Then, on August 16, 1977, the world was stunned by the news of Elvis's sudden death at just 42 years old. Though the official cause was listed as a heart attack, subsequent reports pointed to the long-term effects of prescription drug abuse as a major contributing factor. His passing marked not only the end of a remarkable career, but also served as a haunting reminder of how fame, isolation, and untreated struggles can quietly erode even the brightest stars. Elvis Presley's personal life behind the glitz and glamour was steeped in profound sorrow and emotional isolation. As his world grew smaller, his bond with his daughter Lisa Marie Presley became strained, a painful reflection of how addiction and loneliness had taken root in his life. Despite being one of the most recognized figures in the world, Elvis battled his demons in silence, his struggles with prescription drugs largely hidden from public view. Meanwhile, the media relentlessly focused on his physical decline, cruelly labeling him a shadow of his former self. Photos from his final concerts showed a man clinging to his craft, offering weary smiles and pouring his soul into performances even as exhaustion overtook his body. Though his death marked a heartbreaking end to an extraordinary life, Elvis's legacy remains larger than life. His home Graceland, now a place of pilgrimage, stands as a testament to his enduring impact, a space where millions come to remember not just the icon, but the man behind the myth. Next, let's take a closer look at the compelling life of Priscilla Presley, whose journey extends far beyond her iconic role as Elvis Presley's wife. While many remember her as the epitome of elegance and grace, forever linked to one of music's most legendary figures, Priscilla's story is layered with resilience, transformation, and quiet strength. She first met Elvis at just 14 years old, beginning a relationship that would become one of the most talked about in pop culture history. By 1967, they were married in a ceremony that symbolized Hollywood glamour and fairy tale romance. Yet behind the scenes, Priscilla navigated an intense and often isolating world shaped by fame, control, and the challenges of living in the shadow of a global icon. In the early years of her marriage, Priscilla Presley embodied timeless elegance, often seen by Elvis's side as the poised and graceful counterpart to the king of rock and roll. Yet behind the glamour, she endured intense pressure to maintain the image of the perfect partner and idealized queen to match Elvis's towering fame. Their 1973 divorce marked a turning point in her life as Priscilla began striving to redefine herself outside the confines of being Elvis's wife. She ventured into business, acting, and philanthropy, determined to build an identity of her own. Still, the legacy of their relationship lingered, shaping public perception and coloring every step of her personal and professional journey. Despite her efforts at self-reinvention, the presence of Elvis remained a powerful influence, both a blessing and a burden that she carried with her long after their marriage ended. The relentless pressure to preserve her youthful beauty and measure up to the idealized image once associated with being Elvis's wife gradually led Priscilla Presley down a difficult path. Hoping to keep up with both public expectations and comparisons to other women in Elvis's life, she began undergoing cosmetic enhancements, starting with minor procedures like Botox and facelifts. But over time, her pursuit of perfection intensified, becoming an emotional trap fueled by the fear of aging in the spotlight. Tragically, in the early 2000s, Priscilla fell victim to a botched cosmetic procedure performed by an unlicensed doctor using industrial-grade silicone. The procedure left her with visible damage to her face, sparking a wave of public criticism and tabloid speculation. What had once been a personal effort to feel confident and in control became a very public ordeal, turning her transformation into a cautionary tale about the high stakes of beauty in an unforgiving spotlight. Priscilla Presley has openly acknowledged that life after her divorce from Elvis was anything but the glamorous fantasy many imagined. Instead, she was met with constant speculation and criticism, with some accusing her of exploiting Elvis's legacy for personal gain. Behind the scenes, she was navigating the heavy responsibilities of single motherhood, while trying to forge a career on her own terms, an emotional burden that led her into years of quiet depression. Her struggles were compounded when she became a victim of the unregulated cosmetic industry. In a devastating turn, she was treated by a fraudulent doctor who injected industrial-grade silicone into her face, leaving lasting damage. The physical and emotional toll of the procedure required multiple corrective surgeries, adding another painful chapter to a life already marked by immense public pressure and personal hardship. The excessive use of cosmetic procedures took a heavy toll on Priscilla Presley, not just physically, but emotionally and professionally. The visible changes to her appearance became a constant target for tabloids, which seized the opportunity to publish harsh headlines and unflattering photos. What may have begun as a personal attempt at self-care was widely misinterpreted as vanity, leading to a shift in public perception that often overlooked her deeper struggles. Her career faced setbacks as casting directors and critics focused more on her looks than her talent, and her romantic life suffered as well. Priscilla spoke candidly about how difficult it became to trust others, especially while under such intense public scrutiny. The combination of personal trauma, media ridicule, and societal pressure left her feeling increasingly isolated, caught between the image people expected and the woman she was fighting to be. After Elvis's death, Priscilla Presley took on the immense responsibility of preserving his legacy, becoming a driving force behind the transformation of Graceland into one of the most visited private homes in the United States. Her efforts not only honored Elvis's memory, but also secured financial stability for their daughter Lisa Marie and the Presley estate. Yet despite this remarkable achievement, the emotional scars of her past lingered. Priscilla continued to live under the public microscope, constantly compared to other women in Elvis's life and judged for every decision she made. These comparisons, often harsh and unfair, kept her tethered to a legacy that brought both admiration and pain. While she succeeded in protecting Elvis's image, she struggled to define her own identity beyond his shadow, making her personal journey one of resilience in the face of ongoing scrutiny and unresolved heartache. Despite the many hardships she faced, Priscilla Presley refused to be defined by adversity. Determined to carve out a legacy of her own, she stepped confidently into the entertainment world, earning praise for her role in the hit comedy series The Naked Gun, where she showcased a sharp wit and charm that resonated with audiences. Outside of acting, Priscilla became a dedicated advocate for charitable causes, focusing her efforts on supporting women, children, and animal welfare. Her own painful experiences with cosmetic surgery inspired her to speak out about the dangers of unlicensed practitioners and the serious risks of unregulated procedures. She used her platform to raise awareness and promote education around cosmetic safety, helping others avoid the same mistakes. Through her resilience, advocacy, and determination to turn personal pain into purpose, Priscilla emerged as not only a cultural figure but a voice for healing and empowerment. When the stage lights faded, Marilyn Monroe, the timeless symbol of glamour and desire, stood revealed as a woman haunted by loneliness, vulnerability, and unrelenting inner conflict. Beneath her radiant beauty and enchanting smile lay a world of emotional scars and fragile self-worth. Rising to fame with unforgettable roles in Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Monroe became the ultimate Hollywood icon. But the very image that catapulted her to stardom quickly became a prison. As the world demanded perfection, she was forced to maintain the persona of a flawless sex symbol, even while battling depression, anxiety, and an aching need for acceptance. The more she tried to meet the public's expectations, the further she drifted from her true self, turning her dazzling celebrity into both her greatest triumph and her deepest sorrow. Hollywood's unforgiving beauty standards left even icons like Marilyn Monroe vulnerable to their harsh demands. Despite her already captivating looks, Monroe underwent subtle surgical enhancements such as adjustments to her nose and chin to better align with the industry's narrow definition of perfection. To maintain her famed hourglass figure, she adhered to strict and often extreme diets, placing immense strain on her physical and mental well-being. As the pressure to uphold an idealized image mounted, Monroe turned to tranquilizers and alcohol as a way to cope, creating a dangerous dependency that only deepened her emotional struggles. Behind the glamorous facade was a woman worn down by the very system that had built her up, trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and exhaustion as she tried to live up to an unattainable ideal. Though adored by millions around the world, Marilyn Monroe's personal life was marked by heartache and emotional turmoil. She experienced 3 marriages, each unraveling under the weight of unmet expectations and emotional disconnect, leaving her longing for the stability and love she never truly found. Her rumored entanglements with powerful figures, including the Kennedy family, only intensified the media frenzy surrounding her, turning her private life into constant public spectacle. The carefully crafted image of Monroe as the ultimate sex symbol became a prison, robbing her of agency and silencing her true voice. Hollywood profited from her allure while the world reduced her to a fantasy, overlooking the complex, sensitive woman behind the icon, a woman who struggled with abandonment, self-worth, and the crushing burden of being everyone's dream, but no one's reality. The immense psychological strain eventually overwhelmed Marilyn Monroe, plunging her into a deep depression that dimmed the once radiant star. As her mental and physical health declined, she struggled to fulfill film commitments, leading studios to label her unreliable. Fans who had once idolized her began to distance themselves, while tabloids ruthlessly branded her a washed-up has-been, burden to the very industry that had built her up. Her growing dependence on sedatives further impaired her judgment, contributing to a series of setbacks in both her career and personal life. On August 5, 1962, Marilyn was found lifeless in her Los Angeles home, an empty bottle of pills nearby. Though ruled a probable suicide, her death sparked decades of speculation, with conspiracy theories swirling around her final days. Monroe's tragic end exposed the darker side of Hollywood's glittering facade, a powerful reminder of how the relentless pursuit of perfection can ultimately consume even the brightest stars. Cher, the legendary diva, known for her powerhouse voice and commanding presence, has stood as a beacon of reinvention, resilience, and unapologetic individuality for decades. Bursting onto the scene in the 1960s with I Got You, Babe, she evolved time and again from TV star to Oscar-winning actress to the queen of comebacks with her 1990s anthem, Believe. Throughout it all, Cher mesmerized fans not only with her genre-defying talent, but with her striking beauty, statuesque frame, and fearless fashion. On every red carpet, she exuded a blend of glamour and rebellion, boldly defying age, gender norms, and expectations of what women, especially in the spotlight, should look or act like. Whether through music style or her evolving image, Cher has remained a cultural force, unafraid to rewrite the rules and redefine what it means to be timeless. As Cher's career advanced and the natural signs of aging began to emerge, public fascination with her appearance intensified. Rather than shy away from the spotlight, Cher confronted the speculation head-on, candidly admitting her history with plastic surgery and even describing herself as addicted to the pursuit of physical perfection. These choices weren't merely about vanity. They reflected the intense pressure placed on women in the entertainment industry to defy age and remain perpetually youthful. What started as minor enhancements like rhinoplasty and facelifts gradually escalated into more frequent and dramatic changes. Over time, cosmetic procedures became a routine part of her life, not only to preserve her iconic image, but to combat the fear of fading into irrelevance in a youth-obsessed culture. Cher's journey underscores the immense emotional and societal weight placed on beauty in Hollywood, and how even the strongest icons are not immune to its demands. In the early 2000s, Cher faced a harrowing chapter in her journey of reinvention when a facelift surgery went tragically wrong, resulting in serious complications. The aftermath left her in both physical agony and emotional distress, prompting her to step away from the spotlight for nearly 2 years. During this time, her absence only fueled media speculation, with invasive paparazzi photos of her visibly swollen and bruised face circulating widely. The public response was harsh and unforgiving. Tabloids ridiculed her appearance, turning her recovery into a cruel spectacle. This wave of judgment and relentless scrutiny added immense psychological pressure, compounding the trauma she was already experiencing. For someone who had built a legacy on strength and defiance, this period marked a deeply vulnerable moment, revealing the darker side of fame and the emotional cost of trying to meet an impossible standard of perfection. The striking transformation in Cher's appearance became a lightning rod for media criticism, earning her cruel nicknames like Plastic Doll and Queen of Plastic Surgery. The relentless scrutiny left deep emotional scars, and Cher later confessed that there were days she would hide in a dark room, unable to face either her reflection or the harsh judgment of the outside world. The toll extended beyond her public image, deeply affecting her private life as well. A quiet, long-term relationship with a younger actor unraveled when he admitted he no longer recognized the woman he had fallen in love with, struggling to connect the real Cher with the version shaped by years of surgical alterations. The moment left Cher devastated not just by the heartbreak, but by the realization that her quest to preserve beauty had in some ways distanced her from her own identity. Cher, however, refused to let adversity define her. After a long and difficult hiatus, she made a triumphant return in 2018, celebrating 50 years in show business with a dazzling performance that reminded the world of her enduring talent and spirit. No longer hiding from her past, Cher embraced her transformation and the lessons that came with it. She channeled her experiences into something meaningful, becoming a passionate advocate for mental health awareness and body positivity. By sharing her struggles openly, she offered strength to others facing similar battles with self-image and societal expectations, proving once again that resilience, authenticity, and self-acceptance are the true marks of a legend. When people hear the name Linda Evangelista, it conjures up images of 1990s fashion at its most glamorous and elite. As one of the era's big five supermodels, Linda captivated the world with her chiseled features, piercing eyes, and effortless ability to transform in front of the camera. She wasn't just a muse, she was a movement. Walking for the most prestigious designers and gracing countless magazine covers, Linda defined the standard of high fashion. Her cool, enigmatic presence earned her the nickname the Queen of Ice, a reflection of her fierce professionalism and sharp wit during a time when the fashion industry was at its most powerful and unforgiving. Yet Linda Evangelista's story took a heartbreaking turn far from the glamorous runways. In 2015, in an effort to maintain her youthful appearance, she underwent cool sculpting, a non-invasive fat-freezing procedure widely advertised as both safe and effective. But instead of delivering the promised results, the treatment triggered a rare and devastating side effect, known as paradoxical adipose hyperplasia, PH. Rather than shrinking, her fat cells expanded and hardened, forming visible lumps and distortions that drastically altered her appearance. For a woman once celebrated for her flawless beauty, the transformation was both physically and emotionally traumatic, marking the beginning of a long and painful battle to reclaim her identity. Once hailed as a beacon of confidence and timeless beauty, Linda Evangelista vanished from the public eye, retreating into a life of isolation and silence. For 5 long years, she avoided cameras, declined work, and distanced herself even from those closest to her in the fashion world. The physical changes caused by the cool sculpting procedure devastated her sense of self, pushing her into a deep depression. The woman who once dominated global runways now struggled to look in the mirror. In a courageous revelation, Linda later admitted that her anguish became so overwhelming that she contemplated suicide, a heartbreaking reminder of how deeply tied her identity had been to the image the world once adored. In addition to the painful physical changes she endured, Linda Evangelista was subjected to a relentless wave of cruel speculation from the media. Tabloids circulated harsh rumors suggesting weight gain or failed plastic surgery, only deepening her sense of shame and isolation. Viral paparazzi photos of her altered appearance became fuel for public mockery, stripping away her privacy and dignity. As the scrutiny intensified, her personal life began to unravel. Her once public relationship with French businessman François-Henri Pinault quietly ended, and Linda, overwhelmed by the emotional toll, retreated even further from the spotlight, left to navigate her anguish alone. Despite the immense physical and emotional pain she had endured, Linda Evangelista refused to let her ordeal define the rest of her life. In 2021, she took a bold step by filing a $50 million lawsuit against the company behind Cool Sculpting, alleging that the procedure had caused permanent damage to both her appearance and her career. The lawsuit wasn't just about financial compensation. It was a demand for accountability and recognition of the emotional trauma and reputational loss she had suffered. More importantly, Linda made the powerful decision to reclaim her story. In a brave and unfiltered interview with People magazine, she opened up about her experience and appeared on the cover with unretouched photos, choosing honesty and vulnerability over perfection and inspiring countless others to embrace their truth. Today, Linda Evangelista is gradually reclaiming her place in the spotlight. She made a powerful return to the fashion world by signing a high-profile deal with Fendi, starring in a major advertising campaign that reminded the industry of her enduring presence and influence. While her professional comeback is inspiring, it's her personal life that truly anchors her. Her son, Augustine James, has been her unwavering source of strength and comfort throughout her most difficult moments, offering the love and support that helped her begin to heal and move forward with resilience and grace. The American entertainment industry, a dazzling symbol of success or a carefully constructed purgatory. These stories serve as more than cautionary tales. They're powerful reminders of how fame can slowly erode identity, self-worth, and personal values. Behind every striking physical transformation is often a silent struggle with insecurity trauma and the relentless need for approval. The emotional scars left by these pressures run deep, often hidden behind smiles and red carpet appearances, and for many, they never truly fade.